Alright, hello everyone. We are into the month of November, which means it's time to go over what I did the last month, which is, I think, I went a little bit crazy because I have a lot of stuff around me, and, I started to think, right before I was doing this, when I got all the stuff, I was like, maybe I should leave stuff till next month, so that once you start doing Christmas shopping, you'll actually have stuff to talk about for November. But anyway, we just gotta get started here, and that means we start with, of course, the Nintendo Switch, and it finally, after what seemed like months of just no Switch games for me, because I wasn't buying any of them, I didn't buy Splatoon or Mario Rabbids, I have 3 Switch games, and of course, we have to start with Mario Odyssey. I played it all weekend. I finished the story last night, and that's just not even a small part of the game, and I'm just blown away by it. It's everything I wanted. Gesundheit.
Thanks.
And how dare you? And it's the best game of the year.
You turn into a frog!
You do turn into a frog and a bunch of other things. This or Breath of the Wild is the game of the year. If you play either of those, it's one of them. Next is Sine Mora EX, which is actually these 2 other Switch games are both ports from a couple years ago. This is actually a shoot 'em up made by Grasshopper, not necessarily Suda 5.1, but just Grasshopper. And of course, put up by THQ Nordic, which is a company I'm definitely trying to support because they put out things that I like. So it's a shoot 'em up. 2 things about it. First of all, it is definitely a Grasshopper game, because they can work these ridiculous, fucked up themes into anything, including working genocide, social revolution, and rape, among other things, into a game about, shoot 'em up, whatever. And it's also based entirely around time. So time is your health bar, time is, how you measure basically your success rate in your life, and when you get hit, you lose time off your health bar and stuff. And if you just run out of time, which is always ticking down, you lose the level. And I'll have more on that later. I have to make a point about that. But it's fun. Good stuff. Very hard. And then third is Tiny Barbarian DX, which is another game that came out a couple years ago originally. It's a retro-style platformer, and it is the latest, basically, home run of a package from Nicalis, who I will buy every single product that they put out if they continue to do it like this, and they will. It's not just about buying Tiny Barbarian DX. It's you get a physical release, which is $30 on Amazon, like I have. You get paid $24, and you get, a little drawstring bag with a keychain in it, and a manual that, after playing the game, seems like, how could they possibly have so much stuff in this manual? There's not even that much to this game. But really, just the game itself it's fun. It's not crazy. It's not, rewriting the rulebook or anything like that. It's just good old school platforming and really hard. And just for the package itself, you gotta get it. It's good stuff. And finally, before I move on, I just submitted my Mario Odyssey review last night, and the Tiny Barbarian review is already up on the Culturecade at cultureshock.com, so you can go check those out. Keep an eye out for them. And I'll probably do a review for this at some point too, depending on what's coming out when I do stuff. Switch games. Now let's move on. Just do some sort of like the one-off stuff. First, one DS game this month. I managed to get Professor Layton and the Last Spectre at a reasonable price, and also in a 2-for-1, buy 2 get 1 deal. So the last Professor Layton game that I don't have is Azran Legacy on the 3DS, the second 3DS one, unless you count the one with her, I don't even remember her name, which just came out. And the thing about Professor Layton is, it's like, I don't really have to know how much better or worse this is than the other games. I just wanted it, I just play Professor Layton. It's great, fun, good stories. And I finally managed to get this at a decent price, so not much else to say about it. the whole time talking, your throat starts to get sore on you. The first of a couple good stuff from a thrift store find, Metal Gear Solid on PS1. This game's actually started to, for all the millions of copies that there are out there, the demand has started to go up for this a little bit. The price is going up. But I kept it because I was like, you know what, this is when I buy games like Metal Gear Solid, or, I'll mention that later again too, honestly. Like certain games that I don't go out and buy no matter how much I mean, unless I really, really want them. Like this is sort of like a staple that I wouldn't pay $20 for, because I'm terrible at these games. That's all it is. I'm so bad at Metal Gear Solid. I think I have every game in that series because they're so cheap, besides this one recently. But I'm so god-awful at them. You feel like you have to have them. This isn't even like a mint copy or anything like that. It's the black label, which is cool. Missing the manual, like every copy of this game that I've ever seen. Almost every copy I've seen is missing the manual. And this also has the reflective discs on them. These are supposed to be either black or blue, if they're black label. But the reflective ones, someone put these in from the greatest hits copy. Whatever. It's not like it's a perfect copy, though. My other PS1 game, this is a little bit more interesting, is Shooter Starfighter Sanvein. Now, you probably have seen these games in this series, the A1 series from H-Tech. It's a budget series that they put out towards the end of the PS1. And if you've seen any of them, you've probably seen the really, really generic, crappy ones. Billiards, bowling, boxing, racing, card games. But there are a couple good games in that series, not just the shooter games. There's Battle Hunter, which is a cool RPG. There's also Board Game Top Shop, which is a Fortune Street style board party game. But this one, so the other one is called Shooter Space Shot, and I've had that for a while, and I started to think, I was like, you know what, I've never seen this one. I wanna see how much that goes for, if it's like a rare game now. It's not. I paid $5 for it. I got it, and I was like, I haven't played this yet, but I got it and I was absolutely floored when I read the back. So you can see right there, real quick. It's 3D space action where it's you against the clock. Time is the ultimate measure of success. Run out of time and game over, pal. Every time your ship is hit by enemy fire, you lose valuable seconds. Defeat each boss to earn back some of your time. This is a shooter game that operates on time, just like Sine Mora EX. Now, a lot of games have used time over the years. I get that. It's not like, these are the only two games in the world, but they are both shooter games. They came out 12 years apart. This would be really obscure. If you look at it's a Japanese release. Basically, H-Tech took games that came out in Japan and was like, we'll do this as a budget release over here. This is just a game called Sanvein, released by a company called Success over in Japan. And then they put it over here as a budget game, so it looks like crap. But it's a decent game, so from what I can tell. And then Sine Mora, originally, not EX, Sine Mora from Grasshopper comes out 12 years after this, using the same mechanics, and I'm just blown away by that. Because I got this and started playing it, and then like a week later I got this game, and I just looked at it. I was like, are you fucking kidding me? Nobody, not a huge deal. I was like so amazed at that coincidence. But anyway, we'll move on. Let's talk. I got two GameCube games here. For one, I got Donkey Konga. I don't have the bongos yet. I can just grab the bongos anytime I feel like, but they'll take up a lot of space, so I'll leave it there. You can also play these with the controller, not as good. But the reason I like it is because, like a lot of GameCube games, it's actually helped out by Namco, and Donkey Konga is just a reskinned version of their Drum Master games. And the Drum Master games are pretty good. So, I've played this before. It's it's not Guitar Hero. It's not the most addicting thing in the world, but it's a lot of fun. And the bongo controllers are pretty cool. They work. They always work. There was never anything wrong with the mechanics, because all you had to do was take Taiko Drum Master, which was a really solid game and a solid series before, and put Donkey Kong on it. So that's pretty cool. Cool stuff. The other game, a lot more exciting actually, is WarioWare Mega Party Games. You can never have too much WarioWare. This is now basically made for a party. It's the first console one that they did. So they did the regular, really simple micro games to get the franchise going, and then they did a GameCube one, which nobody really talks about. I think everyone talks about Smooth Moves, Touched, and this one never seems to get a whole lot of attention, but it's basically because it's micro games put on the GameCube. And at that point, it was still a little bit simple. It was weird, but it wasn't like all the crazy, like, motions that you were doing in, like, Smooth Moves or something like that. So that's probably why this doesn't get a whole lot of attention nowadays, but it's a great game. Next, we'll throw out these three here. Nothing really exciting for the Genesis. Again, thrift store finds, I think these were $2 a piece. So PGA Tour Golf 1, I have 2 and 3. Just throw the first one in there, why not? NHL Hockey, this would be 1991, this is the first one, and NHL 97, so a big jump there. But at this point, I have almost all of the EA Hockey games from the 90s. I still don't have 98 on the Genesis, and I actually really want that, but it's like a $15 cartridge-only game. Not going to go crazy looking for it, but just to see 1998, NHL 98 on the Genesis. It's supposed to be really good, too, so. But anyway, yeah, nothing crazy there. This, alright. I almost didn't want to talk about this because, like I said, I had a great thrift store find. And this was one of the games that I found at the thrift store. It was the only PSP game that was there. It was just out of the blue. And I picked it up because I immediately recognized the artwork for Salamander. And I gotta tell you too, when I picked this up, it was still sealed. It had a big gash in the front of the shrink wrap, so it wasn't 100% perfect seal, but it was actually technically still sealed. I brought it home, I started looking it up, and this is like a $70 game. This is Salamander Portable, which is a, PSP had a million compilations on Konami. They did Great Ace Collection, they didn't do this collection over here, but this is a collection. It has Life Force from over here, Salamander from the original. I forget all the 5 of them, because one of them's written in Japanese on the back here. Well, 2 of them are written in Japanese on the back. Let's see if I can figure it out. There's another game in here called Xex. It's spelled Xexex. And that is another shoot 'em up that never came out on like anything, from what I can tell. But I had this sealed, and I said to myself, I really, really wanted to keep it. And, there's the fact that there's games on here that I would never have been able to play. Otherwise, especially with Great Ace 2, that Famicom cartridge is getting up there in price. I don't think it's actually the real Great Ace 2 either. I think it's actually Nemesis 2, but anyway. I looked at it, and I was like, I'm going to keep this, but if I don't open it now, I never will. So I opened it. I haven't played this yet, but I had to open it so that I could justify keeping it. So, one more thing I want to point out about it, this is the sort of like greatest hits version of it. I like that they put the price in the yen on the art itself. This is not a sticker or anything, that's part of the artwork. So that's a fun thing that they do. Not fun, I don't know, some people might not like that, but I think it's funny that they do it. A big stack of PS3 games actually staring me down here. We'll get to that. That'll probably be one of the last things they do. A couple Wii games here. I'll start out with this. Actually, this is one that I forgot to do last month. But this is the core game. The Core Gang Outvasion from Inner Earth. And it doesn't look like much, but I bought it because this is the first game, or the first big game from a company called Zoink Games, who made recently Stick It to the Man and Zombie Vikings, and are working on another game for the Switch, Flipping Death. That looks really cool. So they have a really, you can tell, they usually do it in 2D now because it's better suited for their style, but they have a sense of humor, and they have an art style that is really, really easily identifiable, I guess. And the games that they've made so far are good. Flipping Death looks really good. So yeah, if you find this at your local GameStop or whatever, pick it up. I haven't played it yet. It's supposed to be good. Their games are good. And it's unique. That's what it is, really. Next, I'll just mention this is Lost in Blue Shipwrecked. This is the second Lost in Blue game I have picked up for really cheap. I have the Lost in Blue 3, I think, for the 3DS, for the DS, excuse me. It's basically like, it's actually, considering it's published by Konami, it's basically a follow-up on Survival Kids from the Game Boy Color. But it's exactly what it looks like and what it sounds like. It's shipwrecked on a desert island, and you survive and shit. And there's a story in there somewhere. I don't know too much about the series. Also, the manual for this thing, holy shit. Massive. For a Wii game, you can feel the weight in it, like, from before you even open it. But yeah, this is a hefty manual for a cool looking game, a Konami game. I don't know too much about that series, but it was cheap, so I picked it up. This is what I was actually mentioning earlier about games like Metal Gear Solid and stuff that I don't pick up unless the Wii has a lot of staples on it that, as someone who likes the Wii and likes to collect for the Wii, there's a lot of them I don't have. I don't have Mario Super Sluggers. I've never played it yet. I don't have Mario Kart Wii. I don't have a lot of the staples that aren't like Mario Galaxy or Super Smash Brothers. But the thing about the Wii is that so many people bought it and so many people get rid of it because they're casual players. I'm just like waiting for the time that I find them in a yard sale. But Super Paper Mario was a little bit different, even though it is a staple. I have a special thing for the Paper Mario series, even though this is where it started to go downhill right here. I played it originally. But I got it for like $8 on eBay, so I was like, you know what, I'm gonna get this now because I feel like I need it. So I'll be a while before I play that because I want to, go through the whole series in order again. But the Super Paper Mario, the only one I don't have now is Sticker Star, which, if anything, is just going to keep going down in price because nobody liked it. And then finally, I'm actually really, really excited to have this game because I wanted it for a long time. When I only had a Wii, when I was in like middle school and really, really early in high school, I played the Conduit a lot. I played it online, I played the campaign, I beat it, and I really liked it, and I wanted it to be Halo. I really, really wanted the Conduit to be Halo, and it wasn't Halo. But it was a really good game that looked like Halo. And I still have a special thing for it. A couple years after the Conduit, they made the Conduit 2, and I'd moved on by then, as probably had most people, and they did not care about the Conduit 2. I think it came out in 2010. So really kind of at the end of the Wii's lifespan. Nobody cared about this game, and I finally managed to get it on an Amazon sale that they had on warehouse deals and stuff. So I finally got this for like $6, and I'm really, really glad that I have it because I wanted to try this game for a long time. I'm sure it's still pretty decent. If you've never played the Conduit or the Conduit 2 on the Wii, I really think you should pick it up because it's so cheap right now, and it's worth your time to see someone trying to give the Wii a little bit of credit with like a first-person shooter. Because it had good online for the Wii. Not good online objectively, but it had good online for the Wii. I played it a lot, and I'm really excited to finally play Conduit 2, because I never thought I'd get my hands on a copy of the Conduit 2. I never thought I'd get one, but really excited to have it. For original Xbox games this month, another one that I got from that Amazon sale that I mentioned, the warehouse deal sale, Star Wars Republic Commando. With the original Xbox blows me away sometimes with how many exclusives that it has that aren't like first-party games. Like that was the last hurrah for like big third-party exclusives on systems, I think. And Star Wars, of all the series in the world, the original Xbox has so many Star Wars games that didn't come out on other systems. It has Jedi Outcast came out on the GameCube and was originally a PC game as well, but they didn't, like, the other systems didn't get the first one, which I think it got afterwards. It got Knights of the Old Republic and the sequel. It got Obi-Wan, which is another, I mean, not a great game, but it got Obi-Wan, which is another Star Wars game. And it has Star Wars Republic Commando, the only game of its type that I've ever thought, wow, I really, really like this game. Because it's like a squad commanding shooter, like a Ghost Recon type. But it's a fucking Star Wars game, and it's cool. And I always liked it, and I always wanted it back. But this game goes for like $20. I got it for like $8 on that Amazon deal. Really, really glad I found it. So it's kind of like one of those like last Xbox exclusives that I didn't have, and that I'd want it back. Because when I was a kid, I also had an Xbox. Because I traded my GameCube because I'm an idiot because I never could get games for it, and I thought that was the GameCube's fault. Another game I actually got at a thrift store a while ago, and I thought I was just going to do a condition upgrade on it because I had a disc only. I didn't actually have it. The other thing about Fuzion Frenzy, a game you probably remember vaguely, is everybody wants this game right now. Because everybody who doesn't want to buy a Mario Party game for their GameCube wants to buy Fuzion Frenzy. And Fuzion Frenzy has gone up from being like still a dirt cheap game, an exclusive, a Microsoft game, by Blitz, actually. I think Blitz made this. It's weird. Everybody vaguely remembers this game because they played it, as I did originally at one point, on the original version of Halo. Halo, when it came out, had a big demo section for all the games that Microsoft was really excited for, and people played Fuzion Frenzy on that demo, and they remember it vaguely, and they want to play it. And so now this game's getting from being like dirt cheap, now it's like $15 easily, because we get asked about it at work all the time. Everyone wants Fuzion Frenzy, and it's crazy, because it's Mario Party. It's not as good as Mario Party, but it's a lot cheaper than Mario Party, so, I see where everyone's coming from. It's also good. I like it. I liked it. Another game, just totaled, which is also an Xbox exclusive, not because they worked hard to get it or anything like that. Just Majesco, I know for a fact, was just publishing a bunch of games on the Xbox and being like, yeah, we'll do it on the Xbox. Sometimes they do PS2 and Xbox, but it's one of those like destruction derby type of driving game, and I'm always up for any of that, whether it's supposed to be really good or not. So it's totaled. Not much else to say about it. This one, on the other hand, I'd actually bought a copy of this game a while ago, and I worked so hard to try and make it work because it looked like it was going to, and it looked like it was really in decent shape and gonna play. And it turned out it just had a tiny little crack on, not even on the data part, on the very, very inside of the disc that was just big enough that the Xbox didn't want to read it. And this compilation, which is not an amazing compilation, but it only came out on the original Xbox, it's Tecmo Classic Arcade. And a funny thing about this game, so it doesn't have Ninja Gaiden on it, which is a huge, huge omission. Maybe they didn't do Ninja Gaiden because the reboot was doing so well, and you can unlock those. It's got Tecmo Bowl, it's got the arcade version of Rygar, it's got Star Force, it's got Solomon's Key, all these games you probably remember on the NES, but it's got the arcade version. It's very important to remember that. And I've seen so many people online, especially on Amazon, because I always looked up to see if I could get a disc only to just fill in the case that I had. And everybody whined that the Tecmo Bowl on this was not the NES Tecmo Bowl. And they would go and they would say, they're probably still on Amazon, you can check all these reviews, people go, it's not the real Tecmo Bowl. This is the real Tecmo Bowl. The NES version is not the real Tecmo Bowl. It's a port. And if you think this is different, then you're stupid. I mean, if you don't realize that it's not the NES version, it's Tecmo Classic Arcade, not Tecmo Classic fucking NES, dude. Yeah, so I'm gonna get... Rygar is also really different too. It's not the NES version. The NES version's better. But, there's 11 games on here. They're all the arcade versions, which none of them were the same when they got ported. So these are the only way to play these 11 versions of these games. Full list is Tecmo Bowl, Rygar, Star Force, Solomon's Key. All those are NES games. Pleiades, Sengio, Pinball Action, Stratofighter, Swimmer, Bomb Jack, also an NES game, and Tecmo Cup. And they're the arcade versions. It's really cool. So yeah, I'd wanted to get a version of this, another copy of this, because I bought one that had a crack in it, and I never bought one again. I only have two 360 games. They're both really weird purchases. So this one is one of the games I probably bought with the least research done on it. It's by Destineer too, which makes you go, oh god, that shit. But it was $3. I looked it up. It's a snowboarding game. I like snowboarding games. The developer's name is Bongfish. I looked it up real quick, and it actually has really good reviews on GameFAQs, so I was like, you know what? Give me the snowboarding game. So, Stoked. Whatever. No biggie. This one, however, is something that I had thought about for a long time. You might know this game. This is Catherine. I was in GameStop because they had put this, this version at like $15, and they're also doing that, the buy two get one free, or whatever it was that I was doing, a buy two get one free. And I was like, my curiosity is getting the better of me with this, because I've been so, like, this game, I've known about this game for years now, since it came out. And I remember when the year that I stayed at college, this is the sort of like, wow, people get into this game that would never play another game by Atlas. This is the most Atlas game I've ever seen, and nobody else would play their other games, but people will play this. And it's supposed to be amazing. But when I was, the year that I stayed at college, I stayed in a suite with 5 other people. My roommate would probably have played this. We got along the best, and we had similar tastes in games and stuff. But my other 4 roommates were a bit, I mean, they weren't all bros, but like, they were not going to play this game. This is what I would say. Those people would not play this game. And yet, for about 3 months of the year, of that school year, on our coffee table in the dorm, there was a copy of Catherine. And it wasn't mine, and it wasn't my roommate's. Somebody had bought Catherine. And at some point, somebody played Catherine. And I always think of that. I'm like, Catherine must be good enough and must be enticing enough to other people that people who would never play any Atlas game will play Catherine. And that's what has always stuck with me every time I see it and every time I see somebody talk about it. So at some point, I'm going to play Catherine. I literally expected, in my head, I was thinking that I would bring this up to the register and a big siren would go off. He's weird! He's buying Catherine! And that didn't happen, but it's still like, dude, you're not going to buy Catherine. Like, if you look at my 360 collection, I have Catherine. I have Death Smiles. I have Odomedius Excellent. I have Lollipop Chainsaw. I have all these games that make me feel weird to own them. And just like, please, nobody judge me for buying Catherine. I'm just curious. Oh, that's a fucking story of me knowing about the existence of Catherine for 5.5 years now. And finally being like, fuck it, I'm gonna buy this game and see what it's about. Because people like it. People love it so much. We've gotten, while I get this next thing out, I've seen the collector's edition, the big-ass box collector's edition coming at the store with a bunch of other collector's editions. And collector's editions on 360 and PS3, nobody wants them right now. They take up way too much space.
Your mom's trying to get your attention.
Well, I can't right now.
I know.
So, Xbox 360 and PS3 collector's editions at this point are not selling. Nobody wants them. They take up way too much space.
What's up?
But people want the Catherine box set. They want it so bad. The people, they see it just sticking out and they're like, how much is the Catherine box set? And I'm like, it's like $100, I think. It's ridiculous. It's like, everybody wants that. Nobody else wants any other ones. But anyway, moving on, I got one Super Nintendo game, and it's a repro. My friend Greg from Guerrilla Games actually gave this to me because he wanted to do an experiment. He wanted to make Mario and Wario, and he can make you can make repros of Mario and Wario either with the original controls that use the SNES mouse, or you can make them that use the D-pad. You can't make one that does both. So he made me one. He wanted to make sure that he can make it, and give me the SNES mouse version. So I don't have a SNES mouse. I can invest in one at some point. But I'm just really glad. I really like Mario and Wario, and I'm always down on the SNES mouse. It's necessary for Mario Paint. A couple other games that came out here use it, but not anything that's particularly good, and not anything that necessarily needs it. Unless you consider, like, Tin Star, or whatever it is, the shooting games that can use it, because it's a better cursor than the D-pad. But even then, you can just use Super Scope if you have the means. So it's not really meant for the mouse. But Mario and Wario is the game that if it had come out and you'd been able to use the mouse, I wouldn't hate it so much. I wouldn't hate the mouse so much for its lack of implementation. It's basically, there's a Mario, Peach, or Toad. They have like a bucket on their head because Wario's being a dick. And you have to guide them around the stage by, moving platforms, blocking obstacles, doing whatever. And it's really clever. It's good. It's a puzzle game. It's not a regular platformer, but it's a good game. Greg now makes these really nice cases for the SNES games. That's how they go out on his website. Check him out at Guerrilla Games on Instagram. He's Gaming Primate. But yeah, he makes some great stuff. He's actually making one for me. He just finished one. I have to get it from him soon. But he gave me that because I was the experiment. He's like, I gotta make this one. Yeah, you can have it. Four games checked. Actually, 3 games checked off the list, and then 1 extra one for the Wii U. I'll go with the one that wasn't planned, but they found out how to sell me a Cabela's game, which is to make it $5, put it on the Wii U. Well, have the price eventually drop to $5. Put it on the Wii U, and have it be the one that sells itself as not really a hunting game, but more like you're in danger and you can shoot these poor animals because they're dangerous to you. You shouldn't be out there in the first place. But that's the way it is. So, it's basically a first-person shooter for the Wii U, and it was $5. So I picked that one up without really planning on it. These other games are a little more exciting. Finally checked off the last Lego game. This is also something I got from the Amazon 20% off sale. Lego Avengers. This is the one that held its value a tiny bit better than all the other ones. You can get Marvel superheroes for like less than $10 now, but Avengers is a little bit more. And they're Lego games, and I have all the Lego games, so I don't have to worry about that anymore. This I just got yesterday. This is the physical release of Runbow, a game that I had in the Humble Bundle that came out for the Wii U and 3DS with some amazing games a couple years ago. And whatever happened, I don't know what it was. This was $20 for a long, long time on the Wii U, and then all of a sudden I noticed it dropped to $10. Brand new. I bought this brand new. I got it yesterday, and I opened it because I wanted to open it. So it's basically a side scroller that you can play with up to 9 people. It's straightforward, and it's a race to the finish type of platformer but with like all kinds of different obstacles, and with like a theme around like the colors changing all the time, so the obstacles are changing because they blend in with the background. It's really cool stuff. And if you want to get this physical, buy it right now. It's like $10 on Amazon. I was really surprised that it ever got that cheap, because I didn't think it would. But yeah, finally a physical of Runbow. And finally for the Wii U, I can't believe I actually found this. Game & Wario. I found this at a GameStop, and I was like convinced that I was not going to find Game & Wario in a store anytime soon, because I would look it up on GameStop's website to see what they were going for, and GameStop had taken this game off their website because it was getting rare, I assumed. It is still rare, but I assume that was why they took it off the website. But I walked into a GameStop and not really caring. I was in the mall, and I just was like, fucking Game & Wario. Like, I thought they weren't going to sell this in a store anymore, literally. I was just like, I did not think that I would find this in GameStop. I asked GameStop employees to look it up on the system in case it was any different. And they were like, yeah, it's not in here. I was like, what the fuck is that about? But yeah, Game & Wario, finally. Not a great game in the WarioWare series, by the way. The best thing about it is Pictionary. And that's not worth $35, but yeah, Game of Wario. Finally got it, motherfucker. You got some 4 actually really cool PS4 games this month. I'm actually very excited about all 4 of these. First of all, my Undertale that I pre-ordered, I actually forgot that it was even coming. But Undertale got put on PS4 and Vita, physical from Fangamer.com. The PS4 version was $25 for the standard edition. I think it's like $60 for the collector's edition that people went crazy for. But I never got to play Undertale. It's super short, but it's supposed to be fucking amazing. And I'm finally really excited to finally play this. The best part about even the standard physical release of it comes with this. It's not a manual, but it's a little golden book. That it literally is a little golden book, the spine and everything. That kind of shows the intro. And that's fucking adorable. I haven't played it. I barely know what it's about. I barely know anything about this game other than it's supposed to be incredible. But I finally have Undertale, and it's really awesome to have it. Really good package that they put out for $25. Next, I'm gonna take a sip of coffee. Fuck. Next, you might have seen this thing going on that Sony's trying to promote, which is their new PlayLink series, where they're adopting the system that Jackbox Games uses for the Jackbox Party Packs, which are really great, by the way. And they put out 4 games that use iPhone apps or phone apps, smartphone apps, as your controller, so that you can play them with a bunch of people without having to have 6 controllers. They put out a SingStar one, no big deal. One you kind of like draw on people. It's called That to You. I don't even really know that one, what it's about. They put out a trivia game called Knowledge is Power, which is, basically what you expect at that point, knowing that the Jackbox Party Packs are a thing. But they put out this one, and this one was really exciting to me. All those games, by the way, are $20, including this one. So I probably would have canceled my pre-order on it after so long if it wasn't still going to be $20, and I basically paid $17 for it. Prime discount plus taxes. This is a sort of like I keep saying that like Supermassive Games made Until Dawn a couple years ago, and I loved Until Dawn. Ending was kind of weak, but I loved Until Dawn, and they have come back and made another game similar to it called Hidden Agenda that is like a crime thriller, but it's supposed to be played with the PlayLink thing. Up to 6 people get to choose and vote for the choices on their phones. And it's like, that seems, first of all, fascinating to me that they came up with that idea. I watched them do a trailer where they talked to the developers, and they were like, yeah, we saw people play Until Dawn on streams and on the internet, and we designed a single-player game because you have one person, they just make the decisions as they go along. But people would play them in a group, and everyone would shout out their decisions, and we're like, we should make that. So the PlayLink thing came along, and they did that, and it looks awesome. Game's supposed to be really good, actually, too, which is really good. If you ever played Heavy Rain or Beyond Two Souls, any of those David Cage games that I really like, even though they are never as good as I want them to be, Supermassive Games came out and made Until Dawn, and then they made this game, and with Until Dawn, they outdid David Cage at his own game on their first try by a country mile, and I am really excited about this game for that same reason. Same people, same type of narrative, same sort of choices, but with the sort of like Gesundheit, with the same sort of like you all get like this thing on your phone, like you might have to act differently, or you might have to keep things the way that you vote a secret from people, which sounds amazing. And then 2 things I got today. I have discovered how many physical copies there are coming out in Europe that we don't get over here. We actually did get this one, but it's gotten a lot more expensive, or not a lot more expensive, but it's held its value pretty well over here. But we didn't get this game. So I got these both today. for a total of less than $30, first of all. I have to point that out. This one is Ollie Ollie, which is a 2D skateboarding game, basically a platformer, whatever you want to call it. And first of all, it's really fucking hard. I haven't played it yet, but that's all I've heard about it. Oh my god, it's so hard. But really exciting. It's actually Ollie Ollie Epic Combo Edition, so it's the first one and the second one. This, if you are even slightly interested in it, you can go buy this on eBay right now for less than $15. And I definitely suggest that you do that because it's really, really nice package, a good combo edition, but you have to buy the PAL edition, that's the thing. I don't know if this is in the American edition, but nice, decent size manual where they talk to the developers, they talk about the process of forming the studio, making the game, everything like that. So really, really good package that I got for less than $15 with this one. And then this other one, which I didn't open because I didn't feel there was a big fat manual in there, is Collat, which is the sort of like thing I'm super fascinated with that I want more people to do, which is make these games based on real events, like sort of make a story that solves the events for themselves. It's based on an incident called the Dyatlov Pass incident, where they found these. I think they found the kids in the woods. They don't have the whole description of it on the back here, so I'm going by memory. They either found the campsite or the kids out in the woods, and like something had happened to them, and people are trying to like put the pieces back together. It was out in Russia or whatever it was. And this is narrated by Sean Bean. So, as we said when we were looking at it earlier, they apparently are going to find a way to kill the narrator. But I'm absolutely fascinated by this. There's another game called Secret Files Tunguska, which isn't a first-person game or anything like that. It's a sort of like point-and-click adventure based on the Tunguska incident in 1908. And that the fact that people are making games like that, even though it's been over the past 10 years, really, really excited that people do that. Absolutely fascinating. Lastly, we have a bunch of PS3 games that I got this month. A surprising amount of PS3 games. A lot of that came from the fact that somebody basically dropped off their PS3 with a bunch of amazing games and just left it there and never wanted their stuff, never wanted anything of it. And eventually I just was like, we have to say, I mean, it's ours now. Give them plenty of time, and obviously they're entitled to their money if they ever come back, but yeah, we gave them more than enough time. So, first thing I want to do is talk about this. I got PlayStation Move stuff, and I keep looking at this stack over here, but I put the other stuff over right here. So the thing that I actually got really excited about was Eye of Judgment. You may be familiar with Eye of Judgment because it's kind of stupid, but it's just stupid enough that I think it's fascinating, and I want to play it. And of course, it's a collectible card game, so I'm really into it. It came out in 2007, right when they were trying to get the Move set up and everything, and I have everything to go with this Eye of Judgment. The game, right here, game you can find dirt cheap. That's not the important part. The important part is getting the mat, which you might not necessarily need, the play mat, the camera, which you can also find really cheap because it goes with the Move, the camera, something that you do really need, which is this stand that holds the camera over the play field while you play. The Move controller actually doesn't matter for this game. You don't need the Move controller, but I do have some Move games to talk about. And some cards, which was basically the downfall of this game. It would be really cool to have a collectible card game that works with, real cards, real sort of like a blend of like an augmented reality kind of thing. But Wizards of the Coast was the ones who were, tasked with putting the stuff out. And I think that kind of it infringes on people buying their regular stuff that they can usually keep separate from all their other card games. So I have 3 here. They put them in stores. They put booster packs. They put starter decks. They put everything like that. I have 3 decks here. one of which came with the game originally. So, yeah, I'm really excited. It's really stupid. It's a lot of work for probably not that much payoff, but hey, I mean, it's crazy stuff. That's why I like it. Weird stuff to have in your collection. And then, like I said, I have, so I got the regular and the navigation controller for the Move. You don't really need the navigation controller for that many games, as far as I can tell. But actually, there's one more thing I want to do that's not a PS3 thing. But I do have 3 games for the Move. First of all, I got Sports Champions, which I was told by my friend Mike Benton, Honest Gamer Mike, who you can check out on YouTube and Twitch and stuff. The Move is, he's a big PS3 fan, and he was telling me about the Move is actually really good. And I believe him on that, trying for a little bit. I didn't have too much space to do it with. But Sports Champions, is supposed to be kind of cool. It's Wii Sports, but slightly different stuff. And, Sports Champions, this was the reason that I wanted to get the Move, actually, is Time Crisis Raising Storm. Not even for Time Crisis, even though I'm definitely going to play that and love it. But, boom, right there on the cover, the bonus game, Dead Storm Pirates, which I have played in the arcades, and is basically, at this point, my favorite arcade rail shooter, because it's about pirates. And it's also really just goofy and clever, and just a lot of fun. So you get to play that with the Move. And because I got the Move, I also upgraded my copy of House of the Dead Overkill to this extended cut version that they put on the PS3. One of those things where they completely ruined the Wii's sort of idea of exclusivity. They did it with GoldenEye. Now they did it with this. But I was like, you know what? Now that I have the Move, why don't I have the best version of one of my favorite games to play with that sort of technology instead of, just waste it. If I have the Move, I might as well have that. So I got that. Before I get to the rest of the PS3 games, actually, real quick, got these 2 books. I almost forgot about them because I took the Eye of Judgment thing off of them. Ultramassive Video Game Console Guide from Classic Game Room's Mark Bussler. I've been watching Classic Game Room for a long time now. They self-proclaimed longest-running YouTube video game show. That's probably true. They've been around for so long. These are really cool guides that you can get for about $13 each on Amazon. And it basically, he goes through a bunch of different consoles, talks about the hardware a little bit, the games that are on it, and the reason I like him so much is because I've always liked how Mark talks about games that are meant to be fun. That's just the way that he likes to view games, and that's the way that I like critics to review games. They're just fun. So, his favorite games are always Truxton and Musha and all the space shooters and shit like that. And stuff that's just like, goofy and out there that you don't find in other forms of media. At least not other popular ones. And I like that he talks about obscure ones on here, so, he has, there's a Volume 3 coming with other games that, what does he say is going to be in there? Kind of the modern systems, and then, Wii U, Saturn, WonderSwan, etc. That's coming in Volume 3, but these ones they have Game Boy, PlayStation 2, Vectrex, love the Vectrex, Sega CD, N64, Master System, just to name a few. But then he also talks about obscure systems like the Hyperscan, which is a piece of garbage, and he talks about that too. The Hyper Neo Geo 64 add-on for the Neo Geo, basically. The R-Zone, the Gamecom, which are also garbage. And even the Texas Instruments T199, because it plays cartridges. So that's really cool stuff. I also like them because he takes the consoles out and does a lot of good photography with them, and he does them, takes them out to the park, he takes them out to the beach, takes pictures of the consoles. But we're going to wrap this up now with the last few PS3 games I got. This, you may have seen this, this is getting really, really expensive, and kind of always has been for the PS3 in the US, but region free, baby. It's Africa. Basically a game where you go and take safari photos. And it's actually by Natsume, because of fucking course it is, because it looks relaxing as all hell. I mean, I paid like $10 for this on Amazon. Very happy to do it, because it's fucking Africa. Look at that zebra on the cover. In Korea, this game is published under a different name, Hakuna Matata. And that version of it, because it's fucking Hakuna Matata, is, I think, also getting kind of hard to find. But you can pay $10 and get Africa from Japan. So that's pretty cool. Last couple. Valkyria Chronicles. As soon as I found out it was in real time, at least to a degree, I don't know that much about it. I just know it's supposed to be really good. Being in real time helps me find it interesting and want to play it. So that's cool. And it was like $10. Less than $10 actually. Valkyria Chronicles. We have Alice Madness Returns, which is a game I've really wanted to play for a long time now. But it's held its value really, really well. Supposed to be great. It's held its value for that reason. So, I don't know much about what to say about it because I haven't really played it. I've only seen a little bit of it, but it's exciting. Exciting to finally have that freaking game. This is an adventure platformer that I wanted for a long time too. This is Puppeteer, Sony product. Has move functionality. Doesn't say it on the front here or on the side on the spine, but Puppeteer, which this is supposed to be really good. Matt is actually one of the people who really recommended this to me for a long time. So excited to play that because I love this. This is exactly the kind of game that I like to play, and it doesn't come out anymore, especially not on the PlayStation stuff. Then again, Knack just came out. Knack 2 came out. And then finally, I've been chasing these games for a long time too. They've held their value fairly well. Blur, which is basically, I always hear it being called Big Boy Mario Kart. Newsflash, people, Mario Kart is for everybody. But, you know, realistic looking cars with, you know, Mario Kart style power-ups and stuff like that. Supposed to be fantastic. And it's held its value around $20, so I've never picked it up until now. And then Hot Shots Out of Bounds, another Hot Shots game. You can't get enough Hot Shots. I can't get enough Hot Shots. But I didn't go out and buy the one that's been $20 since it came out, so, or since, you know, for a long time now. But these are actually another one of those GameStop. I bought these two and Catherine in that buy two get one deal, so that's why I finally got my hands on these. And fucking finally, that's it. There's a lot of shit here. But it was fun. It was a fun month. I found some shit. Did Amazon sales, did deals. And that's how I get all this stuff. I make sure I'm not paying too much for it. That's the bottom line. So that's why when I look at stuff at the end of the month and go, well, when did you get this? You got this at a buy two get one deal. When did you get this? Amazon sale. When did you get this? You know, it finally came in the store and I got my employee discount. So that's pretty much how shit works. That's how I get all this stuff, you know. I always feel bad about it when I go and look at it, and then as I'm going through, I remember where I got it, how I got it, how much I paid for it, and I'm like, you know, this is how you have to do it. So that's it. I'll see y'all soon to finish up Off-Road Challenge, and then I'll see you next month for more pickups. Probably won't be as much, but we don't know what the future holds at this point for any fucking pickup month. And that's it.